welcome back to Sarcastic Remarks. This is the after-game review for game number 18. The Dallas Stars win by a final score of 5-2 against the New York Islanders and Matthew Barzal. Welcome to the show. We want to thank DraftKings Sportsbook for being our sponsor of this episode, this podcast, and all of THPN. Go and use that promo code THPN the next time you use their app for a special little offer from them. Hey, James, how you doing tonight? You doing okay?
Doing pretty good, yeah.
That was a very fun game overall. Lots of things that we're going to dive into here tonight and things we can talk about. But what did you think overall about tonight's game?
Just a fun game to watch, honestly. Close pretty much to the whole thing. And we won the last period, so we won the game.
So the nice thing about this is that we fight some resiliency from the injury bug. It claimed another victim in Roope Hintz tonight, unfortunately. So that was the big storyline literally 2 minutes before the game started. And then Hanley comes in for Hintz. Obviously, that's not even a comparison. But, Hanley does okay tonight, and the Stars do okay tonight without Roope Hintz. So for you, what was the one player that really kind of stood out tonight other than Jamie Benn? Because we'll talk about Jamie Benn a ton. But other than Jamie Benn, who was someone that really stood out to you and had a really good game?
Jamie Benn.
For some reason, I knew you were going to say that.
Tell me who else. That's the only player. Who else am I supposed to say?
Right. And let's just get straight into it. So Dallas goes 11-7, 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. Hanley will end up playing forward tonight, which actually worked out pretty well. He wasn't too bad as a fourth line forward. And then Colin Miller also draws back into the lineup as well. James doesn't agree with me with the whole Hanley thing.
He only played 4 minutes, so I mean, inconclusive.
But what he did okay on, right? Anyways, coming right off early in the game, the shots were 3-0 for the New York Islanders. So Islanders right off the bat, taking their pucks, taking their sticks and shooting it out there. To start off the game, Ben was actually out there in place of where Roope Hintz would be on that top line. Beauvillier was a very noticeable player for me tonight for the New York Islanders. He had a really good game. There was a really pretty pass for Faksa, and I wrote this about 5 minutes in. I said, it feels a little weird with the synergy in tonight's game because there wasn't a lot of, I don't even know what to put on it. There just wasn't a lot of chemistry going on.
And boy, would that change.
Boy, would it. Dallas would go on the power play first. It was an actual tripping call, finally. And there was a couple of chances there, but Beauvillier would actually have the best chance of either team during that power play. And it was a 2-on-1 with Brock Nelson, and Otter turns it aside.
Overall,
right after, go ahead.
Overall, I thought that power play was fine. Obviously, the odd man chance, the shorthanded chance was not good. That was the worst thing that could have happened. But you get bailed out by Otter, and we honestly had some decent chances on it. So,
right after that power play, I think it really got the Stars going at least a little bit. And they were at least able to spend some time in the offensive zone, even though Roope Hintz wasn't in the game. And very quickly, it went from, I think it was like 6-0 in shots to 8-7 in shots in favor of Dallas. So that was important for the Stars to get going on the offensive side of the puck. There was a really big Dallas turnover, about 8 minutes remaining, and the Islanders were having Dallas swimming defensively. It wasn't a good play there. And Varlamov would actually have a couple of good saves here in the first period. One of them was on Delandry at the top of the crease. And then I wrote this down because Miro is just fantastic, and so is Razor. He is like a feather on a freight train, whatever the heck that means.
I don't know.
And that's as Miro Heiskanen was flying through the neutral zone and flying through the offensive zone, trying to get something going.
Which he did a couple of times tonight.
He did. With 1 minute remaining, Seguin would get tripped by Barzal, and Dallas would actually take the second power play of the game, and they would do nothing with it with the remaining minute in the period. But at the end of the first period, what I wrote down was Dallas had chances on the power play, but right now they're just trying to find synergy. And I thought that the Islanders were actually the better of the two teams in getting scoring chances, and especially Beauvillier. So that's just what I noticed. What did you notice in the first period?
I think it felt like we had more chances to them, but they definitely had the better chances in the first.
What did you think about some of the line combos that were coming out in that first period?
I don't know, man. we put them all in a box and we started shaking the box.
I think you could look at it one of two ways. Eventually, the Stars were resilient and that the players all stepped up, especially Jamie Benn. But the other thing is I think it shows how important Rope Hintz is to this team. And when he's not there, the synergy of the whole team is just completely out of whack.
Yeah. And I mean, that's first line center. I mean, any team loses their first line center, the synergy is going to be whack for them.
And that's a fair point, too. Going into the second period, they start the period on the power play, but they can't get into the O zone, so it was pretty much useless. They were not able to get into the offensive zone at all. The Islanders would kill the penalty, and then immediately after they killed the penalty, Barzal would get his first goal of the season. I never would have thought he'd be leading his team in scoring without a goal. And it was just a tip in front, and I honestly thought it was Lundqvist at fault there. He was just kind of in no man's land if you go and look back at the play.
Yeah, a little.
And it was 1-0 Islanders at that point.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually listened to the ticket pregame, and Bruce was actually saying that Barzal hadn't scored at all yet this season after leading his team. And he said, of course, now that I pointed it out, he's going to score tonight. But so
he didn't just score, he scored twice.
Scored twice. We're not there yet, though.
Yeah, we're not there yet. After the goal by Barzal, Beauvillier again gets another shot. I thought he was the most impressive Islander for me tonight. He had a really good game. Seguin would have a backhand shot, didn't really get enough on it, didn't really get it elevated at all. Dallas would go on the penalty kill for the first time. It was a high sticking call on Seguin. It was unfortunate. It was a penalty, though. And there was a really big by go ahead, James.
Well, on the penalties tonight, real quick, the penalties had kind of a theme. Basically, if you did a penalty and then your team got possession of the puck, it was a penalty. That's kind of how the penalties went. Every single one of them tonight was like that. So at least there was some sort of consistency on it tonight. So I'm not too upset about the penalties.
I'm not too upset about it either, but it some of the plays and some of the calls were still really stupid on both sides of the game, in my opinion. Yeah. Otter would have a really big save on Brock Nelson there, and then Foxa scores after Ben just I guess 2015 Jamie Benn. Yeah.
Foxa scores. Okay.
Foxa had his stick on the ice.
Yeah,
and just kept it there and it kind of deflected off.
Yeah, it stood at the right side of the net. I mean, it's just Ben came in there, dangled a couple of people, passed it over to Seguin, quick pass over to Foxa right in front of the net, goes in. I mean, it was beautiful.
Tic-tac-toe, baby. Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, and all that synergy that didn't happen in the first period was just all expended in that one play. It was crazy.
And that was Fox's second goal of the season. Seguin gets his 700th career point. He's the first player from his draft class to do so. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Right after the goal, though, I guess Robertson takes a penalty that I never saw. He apparently high-sticked somebody.
We never saw it on the broadcast, and they never replayed it. So don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? The Dallas would kill that penalty. There were a couple of chances going both ways. And then I put this on Twitter immediately after that goal that Foxa scored. I was just like, you know what? With how well Ben's been playing this year, Sagan's been doing a lot better than last year as well. Why not just throw them together and just see if there's some magic tonight? I mean, all the lines were in a blender anyways, and it nothing was really sticking. And then
that was
as soon as I put that on Twitter, 7.5 minutes remaining in the second period, Ben and Seguin are out there together with Marchment, and that line would completely dominate the rest of the game.
And it was every shift that they had. Every shift they had a great scoring chances. They seriously looked amazing tonight.
Dallas would take their third penalty in a row for too many men, and that storyline of the Stars taking too many penalties has continued in this game even. They would get a chance with Delandria getting a wraparound chance, but literally like 15 seconds after that, Barzell would score his second goal of the season, his second goal of the game. It was a power play goal off the rush in the slot, and it clinks off the posts and behind Ottinger. So it was an unfortunate goal. It was a great play by the Islanders, and Otter just didn't see it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can't have 6 people on the ice.
Yeah, you can't. Now, here's the other part of the resiliency that I absolutely love from the Stars after this goal. That goal could have been a really big turning point in this game, and it wasn't, because Mason Marchment in that line with Seguin and Benn, the Bennigan line, we'll call it again. We'll go back to 2015. They immediately answer back, and Marchment gets a goal from the slot. It was a beautiful, beautiful play. Great shot. No chance for Varlamov. He never saw it. And it was literally 40 seconds after the New York Islanders scored their goal.
Yeah, it was spectacular. I mean, Ben just takes it in. He dangles through like 3 players, passes it through one of their legs straight to Marchment. And Marchment goes against the grain, has a perfect shot on the far side of the goal. And it was absolutely spectacular.
So great goal by Marchment there. But again, it's like it's clockwork. The Stars would go on the penalty kill again. This time it was Johnston with the tripping penalty. And they eventually would kill it off, but they did have some chances. And specifically, there was one by Wahlstrom that he just, like by a whisker, went high above the bar. And, I wrote down towards the end of that second period, I was like, we're seeing some weird line combos and stuff like that. But I'm all here for it at this point. Because, I mean, especially that Marchment trio, the Bennigan Marchment trio was just absolutely excellent in the game up to that point, and you could see how well they were playing, especially in that second half of that second period. So what were your takeaways from that second period, James?
Well, the second period was Barzell versus Benn. I mean, they both traded 2 goals back and forth. I mean, I know Benn technically didn't score, but both were complete setups from him. I mean, they were beautiful. And yeah, I mean, we find a way to keep that game even. And both the goals that we had were right after penalty kills. I mean, the second one they did score on, but we come right out of them and we score right back. I mean, it's really, really good to see.
Before the third period started, I kind of looked at the line combos and I was just like, you know what? Based off of what I've seen tonight, what do you think could work going into the third period? Like if I'm Pete DeBoer and I'm like, okay, the Marchment trio is working pretty well. Where do I go from there if I'm going to have those 3 guys staying together? Because they look dominant in that second half of that period. So I wrote down Robo and Pav still, but I put Johnston in the middle. And we did see that trio a couple of times out there. For the third line, I wrote Foxa, Delandria, and Kiwi. So moving Fox up to that third line role with Ben being on the top line. And then putting the fourth line of Glendening, Hanley, and Blumel. I thought that would be a decent, the best with what you could do with what you're given with Robe Hintz and Denis Gurianov being out as well. And but we saw Fox out there with the Robo and Pavelski line as well, and he didn't look completely out of place on that line either. He played decently, so that at least gives me going forward a little bit of hope if Hintz is going to be out for an extended period of time.
I mean, it's hard to look bad when your 2 line mates are Jason Robertson and Joe Pavelski. So to be fair, true. And also just I really thought that Johnston might even start this game as the center for that top line. And it did end up going that way. I thought that the lines might be just Pavelski, Johnston, and Robertson. And then the second line was going to pretty much stay the same. And then the third line, you might move like Foxa or Glendening up there. I don't know. But I mean, the line combos by the end of the night didn't look awful. So we figured it out as the game went along and found a way to make it happen.
Well, in that third period, it just felt so much better. Part of it, I think, was the Islanders. They looked a lot more tired in the third period compared to the first and second. And the Stars finally seemed to be getting some synergy going with the line combos that they had. Pete DeBoer finally found something that worked for a majority of the players.
Yeah. And really what it felt like to me is that we kind of changed what we were trying to do in the offensive zone in that third period, at least from what I could tell. From in the first two periods, it felt like we were trying to work it to the top a lot more and take shots from the top and tip it in, because we knew that Varlamov was going to be a good goaltender tonight. We knew that. I mean, he's always good against us. He has a 920 on the season. I think we were trying to go with that tips, but the Islanders were doing a great job, and they were blocking up those shot lanes from up top and blocking shots. They weren't even getting to the net. And by the third period, we really we took it back behind their net multiple times, and we were trying to work it down underneath a lot more. And that's honestly where all the offensive pressure came, in my opinion, at least.
No, I agree with you. There was a lot of differences in how they played in the third period, and I think that played into the strengths of, especially that top. I'm going to call it the top line for now, because it really was tonight, the Ben Sagan Marchment line. Well, after writing that, what I was really hacked off about, and I was up here screaming at my TV screen. There was a slew fit by Scott Mayfield on Jason Robertson. I don't know if you saw that, but it hacked me.
I was really
off.
surprised that wasn't
nothing called.
But then I thought to how they were calling penalties tonight, and they were calling it based off of, was the puck turned over off the penalty? And in that play, it wasn't, and they didn't call it. So honestly, sure.
Still, that's a dangerous play. I mean, you can bust your head.
I fully agree. I fully agree. But with the way they were calling penalties tonight, they probably called that right, honestly.
Well, what made me even more hacked off is that Hakanpää would take a penalty right after that. It was 2 minutes for tripping. I could see how they could call that a penalty, but I still didn't fully agree. But
I felt like he lost the puck and knew that Hakanpää's stick was right there and kind of sold it a lot and got the call on it. I mean,
just fell.
Yeah, I mean, but your stick's in the wrong spot if you're Hakanpää.
They would kill that penalty off, and then Jamie Benn does Jamie Benn things. He scores. It was an amazing shift by that line, and I literally stole Razor's quote, and I wrote, "Is it 2015 again?" It was absolutely ridiculous. Like, we haven't seen the chemistry between Benn and Sagan like that in probably about 3 or 4 years. And I know it's a small sample size in tonight's game, but we saw it. It looked very similar. To when they were just dominant in 2015, 16, 17. So Ben would score, and that puts the Stars up for the first time in the game tonight. What do you think about that play particularly?
Well, the crazy thing is that all three of the goals from that line all came right after penalty kills. I mean, I really think I like that taking penalties is kind of like a joke. Like, yes, just take all the penalties. Yes. But I mean, tonight it seemed to work out. They scored 3 right after penalty kills every single time. I mean, I really don't know if that's actually because of the penalty kill or not, but it seems to be working out that way. So
Kiviranta would have a shot right after that goal by the Dallas Stars. There was a 3-on-1 odd man rush. Ben shoots it just a whisker high of the bar again. I'll say it again. He's on a fire streak. He's not even on a hot streak. I mean, I haven't seen him play like this in many, many years.
I mean, right now in this month, he's matching Robertson point for point.
That's insane. That's weird to think, right? Absolutely weird to think. And then Ryan Suter, I would say that Jamie Benn was like the superhero, but Ryan Suter is the one that like solidified the night. He saves the goal, pulls it right off of the line, and I just wrote, how did that not go in? Like, how on earth did that not go in? And then immediately after Ryan Suter does that, I don't even have a time to think. I think it was Pavelski wins the faceoff in the offensive zone. Robertson takes it, and he just puts a cookie jar right above the bar, or right below the bar. And it was just, oh my gosh, it was amazing.
And that's Yeah, and
I mean,
that's a 2-goal swing in momentum right there.
yeah,
Essentially.
yeah, that's, and at that point, I think I accidentally knocked my really nice gaming chair over here on the floor by standing up and just screaming out at the top of my lungs. I was so excited.
It's huge,
What a fun
enormous goal,
moment. Yep.
and it extends Robertson's point streak to 11 games.
No big deal.
We knew it was coming.
We knew it was coming anyways. Who needs Robe hands anyways? Miro would have a point shot that'd get tipped. 2.5 minutes, there'd be an empty net for the New York Islanders as they try to tie it up. And then Hakanpää unintentionally gets the empty net goal to put it up 5-2 for Dallas. And then I thought this was kind of weird too, but they sent off Scott Mayfield there with like 7 seconds left in the game. I don't know if you saw that.
Honestly, that kind of annoyed me because there's literally 7 seconds of the game. Let them just drop the puck and then go off, but whatever.
I'd say let someone punch Scott Mayfield in the face. I wonder if it's, he had to been something he said to one of the Stars players or something. I don't know, man. So
either way, Hakanpää gets that 200-foot goal. That makes Ottinger get a primary assist.
Yeah,
that's a goalie point right there.
Eventually, he's gonna get a goal. Eventually, one day.
He doesn't really shoot for them, so
yeah. And one of the things I do appreciate about him is that he doesn't stick handle the puck a lot because he knows he's not super fantastic about it. So
he makes good plays with the puck.
Yeah,
though.
He does. So, okay, James, thoughts on the third period? What'd you think?
I mean, we took it right out of their hands. I mean, it's the first game that we've won after it's tied after the second. So I mean, great close playing today from the Stars. They find a way to get that goal from the Ben Sagan Marchment line. They were just dominant in the night. Suter saves it off the very end. That would have tied it. That would have probably sent it to overtime, honestly. And I don't know if we win it then. But he saves it there, and then Robertson, of course, gets the insurance goal because who else?
Yeah, right. And just when he scored it, that, like you said, it was a 2-goal momentum, pretty much. I mean, like that should have been a game tying goal, and instead it goes the other way a minute later, and Robertson pots it in 4-2. So that was so excited at that point.
Really over at that point because there's been so many 2-goal leads that teams have blown, but the momentum swing was just
Vancouver.
It was
Vancouver
and the Flyers tonight.
And
actually,
the Flyers
lost to 2-goal lead. But I mean, the swing in momentum was just so big. There was only 4 minutes left in the game. It was over by then.
All right, James, what happened in tonight's game? We have to start with the obvious. Jamie Benn. Talk about him.
Jamie Benn. He went full, but both him and Sagan turned back the clock tonight. Their line has 3 goals on the night. I don't count Fox Aurelia scoring the first one because he was kind of just there, but he did score it, but whatever. They were just dominant. It was insane. They couldn't be stopped.
It was so much fun to watch Ben again with Sagan and just realize that could that continue? And my thought was like, if Rope does come back and Rope continues that to be in the middle with Pavelski and Robertson, obviously, do you put Ben and Sagan together with Marchment and go with that as your second line? Or do you leave Ben with Johnston?
If it keeps working, yes. And then you essentially have what looks to be 2 first lines. Because that's how dominant they were tonight. They looked like a first line. It looked like they were supposed to do that all the time. Like they'd been doing it all season long.
It looked fantastic. I absolutely loved how they played tonight. I mean,
the thing is, it wasn't just like it wasn't as much what we normally see from our first line from Pavelski, Robertson, and Hintz, which they get in the zone and they work it around and they get the cycle going and then they get in front and then they get the goal from in front. That's not what Ben did tonight. He skated, drew everyone's attention, passed it to the open dude on the other side of the crease and shot it in. I mean, it was quick passing plays and Ben angling, and that's what did it.
I mean, I would at least give it a shot, right? For the next
I
game,
hope so.
if Hintz is back, and just put
So
them both together and just see how it goes.
I think for sure they'll get a look. Um, Brooke asking a good question is who would you put with Johnston then? You put Johnston with Delandre and Blumel. I mean, that's your third line, and that's a pretty nice looking third line, honestly. They haven't played together yet, but it's a young line and it looks nice. But for sure they're gonna get a look, regardless of if Hintz is back or not.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then the other thing that happened tonight is that Otter was very solid. Again, he played much better than he has in the past week or so, and he had some really big saves. Not like sprawling highlight reel saves, but they were very good saves at very opportune times. And then when he broke down and he wasn't able to get the save, Ryan Suter was there to help him that one time, and that's all he needed. Because then Robertson scores the other way, it becomes 4-2. So
Yeah. And the main
he was great
thing
tonight.
with him tonight was he wasn't giving up the juicy rebounds tonight. His rebound control tonight was spectacular, honestly. And that's why he doesn't let up as many goals as other goaltenders, in my opinion. His rebound control just seems to be that good. He just doesn't give them up. And it showed tonight in the scoreboard. 2-5. 2 goals. That's it.
Okay, I think it's pretty obvious who the answer is going to be for one of these questions. But who's the biggest winner and who's the biggest loser in tonight's game, James?
Well, I'm going to make you choose the obvious one, and I'm going to choose Marchment for my biggest winner. He's a 2-point night, goal and assist, 7 shots. When he got on that line with Benn and Seguin, he was the one forechecking in the corner and winning those. He looked really good.
So I'm actually going to go with, I don't want to give it to someone like super obvious, but this is still kind of surprising considering. I'm going to give it to Radek Faksa because he's one of the guys that kind of stepped in one of the lower roles, and he does end the night with a +3. So that's very unusual for Radek Faksa because he's not normally out there when goals are scored. So that means he was solid on both sides of the ice. He was out there when goals were scored, and he was not out there when the goals were against. So
I mean, he had the good goal with Benn and Seguin, the first one, and I think it was actually him who won that face-off for Robertson on his goal. I'm not positive though. I could be wrong on that. Either way, I mean,
I thought it was Pavelski. I could have sworn it's Pavelski.
Yeah, it was Pavelski. I'm wrong. Either way, but he did look good on the ice tonight. I'll give you that.
And before we do need to mention something else that was absolutely incredible, and some people were already talking about it in the chat, but Wedgwood was actually okay. Yeah, I cannot believe that he was even dressed in tonight's game, and it's just really good to see him on the bench and really good to see that he's okay.
Yeah, it's really, really important because we have been playing every other night, but we haven't gotten to the back-to-back yet at the end of all this. I mean, we're playing every other night, and then we got a back-to-back at the end of every other night. So we're still grinding it out right now. We still really need him. They said he went to like the chiropractor and everything, and they checked him out, and they said he was fine. So played tonight. I don't know what happened, but it's great.
Go figure.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. Looking at the stats in tonight's game, when you look at the faceoff percentage, it's 63-36. That's not surprising. The block shots were 17-14. Hits were pretty even, 17-16 in favor of the Islanders. But what's really interesting is when you look at the special teams battle tonight. The Stars lost the special teams battle tonight. I guess kind of. Let me
yes,
rephrase
but
that.
No.
They only got 2 power plays, and it was just the first 2 power plays of the game for either team. They didn't score on them, and then the Islanders took advantage and got 1 goal out of the 5 opportunities they were given. So,
and I'll say that we really scored 2 or 3 goals after their power plays too. I mean, after they expired, yes, but nonetheless, we took from the penalty kill and instantly moved the momentum back towards us. So, whatever.
We'll take it. All that matters is that you have more goals at the end of the game.
I don't count us losing special team tonight.
Whatever. Shots on goal in the period tonight, 13-9 in the first for Dallas. for Dallas, and then in the third, the Islanders go 10 for 9, and final shots are 35-29 in favor of the Stars tonight. And again, some of the narratives continue. The Stars continue to take too many penalties. They're able to figure it out somehow without Rope Hintz. That was really important. And Jamie Benn looks like 2015, 2016, 2017 Jamie Benn again. And if he can continue the insanity that he's on right now, I think he has 20 points, right?
Yeah.
20 points in 18 games now. And
17 of them in this month.
And he didn't have a goal. He did not have a goal in October at all, period.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's able to start ratcheting up those points, and I mean, can he score 30 goals this year? I didn't expect him to get 30.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily.
I think I saw somewhere on Twitter today that he's on like a 91 point pace.
It's crazy.
I don't think he's going to keep that up. Obviously, I don't think he's going to keep that up.
But he's looking to blow the 50-point total that I had him out of the water right now.
Which I'm all here for. Anything else, James, that we need to mention here tonight?
We didn't do Biggest Losers.
Oh, I didn't do Biggest Losers. Okay. Is there a Biggest Loser?
Well, I'm going to give mine to someone who I thought just wasn't in the right position a lot of times tonight. I'm going to give mine to Lindell, actually. I thought that a lot of times they just got forechecked really hard, and he was not playing good against the Islanders forecheck. I mean, there was multiple times where Hakanpää had the puck in the corner. Instead of going to the other corner, he went straight to where Hakanpää was. It's just questionable. He made some questionable passes. He ends the night with a +3, but that's why Chris hates the plus-minus stat, because I thought he had a bad game and he has a +3. So
it's not indicative of how you felt like he played.
Yeah. Eye test told me that he kind of had a rough game with the forechecking.
I really can't think of anybody, to be honest with you. I really can't. Am I allowed to just mulligan this and just do it tomorrow?
Find another one. I believe in you. Come on.
Okay.
All right, 1 second. I'm going to find one for you. All right, we're going to give it to the Islanders Pelech because he has a -3.
There you go. We'll count that. I'll go with that. There you go. Pelech and Pollock. Pelech and Pollock. I still love to say that deep pair. Yeah.
The Islanders by far have like the best names ever, by the way. Clutterbuck, Pelech, and Pollock. I mean, they're some great names, man.
And by the way, Brooke, I totally agree with you here. The biggest winner tonight should be Angelyn Page for Hockey Fights Cancer Night. So if you did not get a chance to see the little video package they had for her at the beginning of the game, it was fantastic what she's done and how she's dealt with cancer, and how she dealt with the pandemic, and how hospitable she is. So just fantastic. She is the ultimate biggest winner tonight. Okay, anything else, James? Sorry.
Play again on Monday. I'm pretty sure that's a 7:30 start. Mm-hmm. I will actually be at that game along with Zach, Cooper, Travis, and our dad.
Dang.
So that should be fun. Oh, and Monica. Monica's coming too.
So it's an all-out Chambers Royale on Monday. So
it should be fun too.
If anybody's going to the game, go say hi to James and the whole Chambers clan. So we will see y'all there if y'all are going to be there. So anything else? I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Go out and check out StarcasticRemarksShop.com for all of your latest merch. That's the best way to support us and what we do here. And I actually have a good bit of news here as well, just for a podcast thing. We are fixing to launch StarcasticRemarks.com. We're going to have our own website. So that's going to be kind of cool here. I think it's probably going to go live either tomorrow or on Monday. We'll see how it goes. So, all right. Well, along with James, my name is Ryan. We will catch you guys on the flip side. We hope you all have a good afternoon, evening, morning, whenever you're listening to this. See you guys later.